Well, welcome everybody. Again, my name is Matt Gerber, the Executive Director of the Diamond Allegiance. Super excited today to join our newest member, Demathian Tate, owner of Canes, Iowa. Tate, how are we doing today, brother?
Doing pretty well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, appreciate you joining us, and excited to learn more about your program and to share your successes across the country. So, first of all, let's start with how'd you fall in love with the game? What's your history in the game? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I kind of started my baseball journey was a little late. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was big into football. And I really didn't pursue baseball till I was like 12, turning 13. And I kind of played 1 year Little League. My mom made me play, and because I was like, I'm not playing baseball, kind of fell in love with it. You know what I mean? You know, uh, Big deal for me was it was just something about baseball being on the field and just being a part of the game was the exciting thing, and I kind of just it became my first love over football, even though I really love football too, but baseball is kind of my passion.
Uh, and so you started playing 12, 13. What did your career in the game look like? And how did you kind of navigate and get to where you are today as a coach of a travel program with, obviously, we can see behind you a beautiful facility.
Yeah, so I played high school ball in Louisiana. I made all the accolades, all state, all the things like that in baseball. Then I went to 2 years of junior college at Maple Woods Community College in Kansas City, Missouri. I did well there, uh, All American, all that kind of stuff. And then I went to Northwestern State University, where I played football and baseball there. In JUCO, I didn't play football, but I returned and I played both in my 4 year program. Northwestern State's a small D1 in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So I played there. And then from then on, I got a job with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I was a strength conditioning coach in their minor league system. And I did a lot of different things, with a baseball experience. I did a lot of bullpens, things, and really got a really heavy dose of how they ran the minor league system. I was with them for 6 years and kind of, once I left the Dodgers, I started having a family and I moved here and, I kind of got withdrew from coaching, but a lot of parents asked me to say they wanted more coaching and I started one team and then it kind of caught on wildfire. And this was like 11, we went from like one team to like 14 teams in 2 years and kind of took over from there. But during my time here, also while I started the program, I was a high school coach at Ankeny High School, and I also was NAIA coach at a school here in Des Moines, and kind of the coaching bug has just took me over since then, and just something I've been in love with.
Love it. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but tell me about how your program started. Obviously, you've just become a Canes program, within the last couple, month or so. But tell us about, the whole 11 years, right? And then tell us a little bit about your decision to become part of the Canes as well.
Right. So I decided to program, I have three sons and, I was looking for something that would give a little more detail into, my big thing is player development and understanding, teaching the game the right way. So I didn't really see that around the area. And I think when I started this, there was a big need from the parent perspective on something with a little detail, more instruction. And when I started this, Little League was still big. Travel ball was in Iowa. We're probably 3 years behind everybody else as far as how things explode. But, travel ball was starting to explode and people were looking more competitive options. And, I was pretty knowledgeable and, I helped out a little bit in Little League and I decided to start it because, I was getting phone calls on a daily basis of people asking. So I decided to do it and kind of started it, and we kind of blew up from there. And, we started as probably the smallest program in Iowa. One team has been, I'm the only owner. So it was just been me. I backed the program myself. And, over the years, we've brought it to be one of the biggest programs in Iowa. And, the big decision, I wanted to join the Canes. I wanted a brotherhood, something to be a part of, something to be able to. We're at the point now where we have higher end athletes, trying to get them the recognition they want, and having the coaching tree to kind of tie into what we want to do. We don't want to be like, yeah, we can get you to the grassroots, but what about the end destination? And I think that a lot of kids, as much money as they invest in this sport and how much the parents are in love with how much they train, it's like, okay, you can ride with us until 14 or whatever, but how can you help me get to my destination? I think a lot of parents would rather keep their kids in the same system from where they start to 7 years old, because that's where we start, until
Mhm.
they get into college. And just having that background, that alumni, and definitely having, being a part of the program like the Canes, where there is a huge alumni and a huge coaching tree to help these athletes get to their end destination. So that was my biggest reason in joining the Canes, and something that it was that was probably 90% of my decision. Is I wanted to do what was best for these kids as they transition into wanting to play college ball. With all the money the parents have spent with me, I wanted to show another step of loyalty to them.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense and really interesting take there. And I made a comment on Twitter the other day, Tate, that the best college recruiters, in my opinion, have the best, feel for the grassroots and the best relationships at the grassroots where they can go and they can have conversations with people that they trust on kids and being a part of a program like the Canes, like you said, really opens up a lot of avenues for your kids across the country, right? Because of all the people that they know and they associate with. Really, really cool in my mind reason for making that switch. So in your 11 years, right? You said you started with one team, um, kind of exploded. What would you say is the reason for that growth? Looking back, right? What happened? What did you do that brought attention to your program?
I think what my program grew fast because I was very hands on. Like I said, I've been pretty much the one employee, the one boss. We've had some other coaches, but I think the hands on approach has been the thing that really kind of started the program for me. It was a lot of work, but now as we've grown, I can't be everywhere at this point with as many teams we have. But I think the main thing was the hands on approach, the skills and the drills that we were providing. And also, big thing for us, when you were a part of my old club, like if you bought a part of BF, if you were a part of our program, you were able to use the facility in and outside of practices. And, I think that was huge for kids that want, I created the program so a father and son, or mom and son, or mom and daughter could come in and be able to put that extra work. Because I think where kids improve the most is outside of practice, not just the 2 or 3 practices a week we're providing. It's about, what are you doing in your downtime? Are you getting better? Are you doing the things necessary? So that has always been our standpoint, to try to have that for our program and our kids, that we believe in that extra amount of work and that one-on-one time with whoever, if it's private instruction, parent time, that was the thing that I think that put us over the top. And just I mean, at the end of the day, in the youth baseball, I could say the biggest thing Midwest Pride, I mean, not Canes has provide, or my old program Midwest Pride, but provided was reps at the youth level. The kids that take the most reps, quality reps, right reps, are going to be better. You know, it's a process of from 7 through 14. If you're getting in a mass amount of reps the right way, when you turn 15, 16, you're going to be the better player, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, 100%. Um, so I've heard development, I've heard family, but what would be if you had one word to kind of define what defines your program? What would that be, and how do you, as the leader, try to epitomize that on a daily basis?
I think the one thing that defines our program, I would say loyalty. And why I say that is, we don't always look for the necessarily the best kid. We look for kids that want to be a part of something and want to be, and definitely families, because these days you can switch club every year. You can bounce back and forth and always look in the grass is greener. I think the best situations that I look for is, how can I be loyal to kids when I can? And there's times kids go up in the program down, and just understanding that parents is, we try to put the kids at the right level for them to develop. And sometimes we have kids that play double A through 13U, and then all of a sudden they hit their growth sport and they're a major kid, and just having parents to understand the process. And I think in youth sports, especially, sometimes, our program, and when I say loyalty, is allowing me and my staff to put the kids at the right development level and understand that we're always going to be loyal to them, but the development at the youth level happens. Every kid develops different at a different rate of speed, and understanding that as a program, we try to be loyal to our people. And I think if parents can be loyal to the program and understand the ins and outs and the ups and downs of the process, I think that's where it works the best. So that's what I try to be. And the biggest thing when I say loyalty to you too, I don't care if you're a double A player, triple A player, major player, I'm going to treat you the same. I love seeing you here. I love seeing your work and having a connection with the kids. I think the biggest thing is with me, I'm loyal, and I think I try to develop a connection with every kid and every family.
Yeah, I love it. And I think as parents, just in general, navigate this travel ball club baseball world. I think, the one advice I always used to give when I ran a club, Tate, was I would say it doesn't have to be me, but at some point you're going to have to trust someone, right, in this process. At some point you're going to have to trust someone. And if you feel like it's me and my program, great. If it's not me and my program, that's fine. It could be somebody else, but trust somebody and know that they have the best intentions for your kid and they're not trying to hurt your kid. Like you said, everybody's going to develop at a different rate. Everybody's next is different too. Some guys really just want to make their high school team, right? Some guys want to play at the elite level of college baseball, and everybody's got some type of next that they can reach. So I think that you hit the nail on the head. And obviously, for any parents and that are watching this today, I think that it's very important to find that, right? Find the people that you trust and to be loyal and to stick with them through this process. So I love that. A great answer. So obviously, we've talked about you growing and one man show and, had some coaches come and go, but are there a couple people that are, really important to your program? If so, what are their names? What are their roles? What
Right.
makes you guys go?
Well, I have Jake Sandin, who is our youth baseball and softball director. He's been with me for about 12 years. My initial year he wasn't here, and then he came year two, and he has been with me through this process for a long time. But Jake, at this point, he kind of he takes care of all the scheduling. He does all the communications now with the youth and softball things, and he's been a huge part of the program. I couldn't be at this point without him. He's been a big person to help make this decision, about going to Canes and what was the best for the program. I'm a little old school and stuck in my ways. He's about 12 years younger than me, so it is always nice to have some young blood, new ideas. As I get older, I get stuck in my ways a little bit, but he has been a breath of fresh air for the program, and he is really good at what he does, and he's helped me grow the program. And especially with just having, you got to have somebody else when you got a program this size to really help you grow the business and develop the business and be a face of the program also, not just me in general. My other guy that really helps me a lot is Riley Lockwood. He's been with me about 8 years. I met him when I was the assistant coach at AIB. He was one of our student assistants, and he came in about 8 years ago. I asked him to help coach a team, and he's kind of been with me ever since. And now he is the high school director, so he's helped us start our high school program, and he kind of takes that over. That's pretty much him. I trust him to do his job, and he's done a great job growing. We started with one high school team. Now we're probably running 7 or 8 teams out there, and really looking to grow that area. And that's another reason that joining Canes was so important to us, to be able to have that process and talking to them about what do we need to really help these kids grow and get into college. And the big thing in Iowa was we play our season in the summer.
Yeah.
So our kids in Iowa really miss a huge recruiting tool as far as not being able to play summer ball and being able to go to some of the bigger tournaments in the summer, where there's a lot more college coaches going to be available. So we our fall program is huge for our high school, and being able to have someone that is really engaged with them and really understands our market here in Iowa, so it's different. I think we may be the only state that plays summer ball now. I think
I
everybody
think you
else,
now are. I think everybody switched. I think
everybody else,
Nebraska
yeah.
was, yeah, but I think you're right. I think Iowa's still the only one.
So it is a very tricky market, and he's kind of come in and streamlined the high school process and really expanded that program. You know, our high school program, the quality of talent from where we started to where it is now has really grew tremendously. And you know, I've let him kind of take the ball and run with it when it comes to that. He also helps with our youth program. He helps coach one of our younger youth teams, and he also helps, supervise coaches, find coaches, and just oversee the program also. So Jake and Riley have played a huge role in what this has become, and I just look forward to the future with both of them.
That's great. Well, speaking of the future, and the past, I'll kind of package these questions together here. First one is, you've been doing this for over a decade. So what's one piece of advice, you would go back and give yourself sitting where you are today to when you started, right? One thing that you've learned that you could tell the younger Tate. And then to piggyback off of that into the future, where do you see you guys 5 years from now, and what are your goals, for your program in the next 5 years?
Okay. If I go back and tell younger Tate, the first thing I would say is be patient. Um, when you start a venture, you think everything's going to come to you now, and that's just not how things work. It's patience for yourself to learn, patience for yourself when you make mistakes, patience for yourself when you fail. Every failure is not a defeat. Sometimes, and I tell my kids this all the time, you can't define the success without failure. And I've learned that even the older I get, sometimes things don't go the way we want or how we plan. It's about what's the next steps after that failure. And, especially in baseball, it's a game of failure. You're going to fail more than you succeed, even if you're really, really good. But I think when the younger self was so upset about every win, every loss, and not see the bigger picture. And, over the course of the last decade, you can really see the growth in the program. And I don't think, I think sometimes when you're younger, you look at what parents want to win. Yes, they want to win, but at the end of the day, they want their kids to be in a program that has the integrity, has the other items matter too. And I still think people that matters. Yes, winning is important, but it's not the end all be all. So patience. And that's something that, I've always prayed to God and asked for. That's something I've struggled with. But as I've gotten older, I've become more patient and having kids and understand that everything isn't right now. In the next 5 years, I look at our program. I mean, what my goal is, I want to be the number one program in Iowa in both youth baseball, softball, and high school. I want it to be a destination. And, I see us growing this program and getting the right staff members to make it happen. And my big thing in the next 5 years, I wanted this to be a location where kids can come here and know that if they want to play D1 ball, and they want to play a game at a high level, that we are a program that can offer that. I think that is the big thing for me, what we were lacking. And the main reason I made this decision was of what the kids want, the level of talent that we were getting in and not being able to offer them that extra step is I see us in the next 5 years being that program in Iowa.
It's great. Um, so I think I can kind of tell the answer to this question, but I'll let you answer it and not take your thunder. What gets you most excited about being part of this club baseball ecosystem? What's your why? Why have you been doing, spent a decade of your life, well, actually all your life in baseball, but a decade of your life, dedicated to these kids?
Well, I think in life we always find out, I think everybody has a certain calling in life. And I've worked different jobs, 9 to 5, I've done a lot of different things. And, we, my dad was huge and I want you to do what you love. And, I walked away from baseball for 4 or 5 years and I just wasn't the same. I probably made more money not doing baseball, but it just didn't have the same feeling approach. And, when I got back into baseball, something about being a part of a baseball team, baseball system, teaching kids. I feel like that is my calling. That's, it's like when I come to work or I talk to families or kids, it's like I'm in my zone. Like this is what I was born to do. And sometimes, and I never thought I would be doing. I never thought in a million years when I left college I would be a travel ball or travel club director and own my own business. That wasn't even any of my goals. And my parents always said sometimes in life you just got to trust God and let him lead you to what you're supposed to do. And when it's something like that, and I've tried other things and they just failed, and it's just like, okay, this was kind of a spur of a moment thing. And my parents just said sometimes you just gotta just follow and take the course. And I've kind of felt I have kind of just stayed on the course. And thank God I have a wife. I have 4 kids that has been patient. Me not being home much, trying to do this, and it's just something that we have raised my kids. I have a kid that's 20 years old. I've raised my kid doing this and taking care of my family, and I've just let kind of God and prayed about it and let God take me. And I feel in life this is my strength. And honestly, I think being a youth baseball coach is one of the most important roles there is in our society, or a youth coach in general. You
Mhm.
spend a lot of individual time with these kids, and I think you get to mold them a little bit more. I know their parents do and all these things, but we're at a very impressionable age, especially before they turn 14, where you can really mold a lot of behavior. And the amount of, I have high school kids and older kids you work with. Yes, you see improvement, but if you see a kid from 7 years old and then 14 years old, couldn't catch and throw at 7, and then 14 you see him and you just get to see that product and how much that kid has grown. I just love that. And no matter if they are a great high school player or they play in college, just I feel like you see these kids 10 years down the road and they remember who you are because you played a huge impact in their lives. So that's what I love. And honestly, I can't see myself doing anything else, at least for the next 10 or 15 years. This is what I'm doing. So
I
that's
love it.
that's my answer on that.
And I figured that was going to be it, but I love it. And two things. One, one I'd like to call out. Thank you, all the wives out there, all the baseball wives, right? Like, I mean, I was out to dinner with one of the Diamond Allegiance groups last night, and their wives were there. And takes a special woman to be a baseball wife, a baseball girlfriend. So thank you to all the wives out there, all the moms out there for the support that they give, because we definitely all need it. And then the
Yep.
second thing there, Tate, to me that really stood out is that talk about the development from 7 to 14 years old, right? And how important it is in a player's, life cycle. There's three main times when players make huge athletic development leaps, and two of those times are in that 7 to 14-year-old age. So that timing, you're right, is so important. And I think it's important for families to hear and to understand that, there's got we've got this narrative out there, Tate, in our world, train versus play, right? But you've got to have both, right? You've got to have a marriage of both. You can't be a cage hitter and a bullpen thrower and not be able to compete in a game and know how to translate it on the field. At the same time, you can't go and chase something on the field, whether that's college scholarships or trying to get in front of professional scouts if you're not good enough, right?
Correct.
So you've got to have that balance. And I think that, finding a program like yours that values player development, but still is going to get you on the field and make that, that happy marriage is really, really important. So just me listening, I think that that's something that definitely stands out is from that 7 to 14 age, you've got to be getting better, and you've got to surround yourself with a program that values player development, and values that family atmosphere and teaching your child how to become a man and a good ball player. So
Correct.
commend you a ton for taking that approach to it, because I know it might not be the status quo out there right now.
It's not.
Yeah. So, well, we're gonna change that, right?
Yeah, we're
Uh, all right. Couple more questions here. Speaking of change, if there were such a thing like the commissioner of the travel baseball worldwide conglomeration, right? Like, and that title did exist out there, and you were him. What would you change in travel baseball?
The biggest thing that, that I think about and I deal with on a daily basis is I would, I feel like parents now have this right now approach. Right now, my kid needs to be right now this, right now that. And, I was a Division I baseball player. At 12, I wasn't the best kid on the team.
Mhm.
At 10, I wasn't the best kid on the team. I think that there needs to be a better education for parents to understand, because I do feel like there is a lot of club jumping as far as, well, this person says this person says that. And sometimes, parents need to understand that you can't judge. I mean, youth being a child is imperfection. You know what I mean? It is very imperfection. And sometimes I see a huge amount of talent in a kid that nobody thinks is very good. And I
Mhm.
know they're going to get bigger. You can look at parents, you can look at size, you can look at strength. And it's like right now, he might be a double A kid. That doesn't mean that at 14, 13, he's still going to be a double A kid.
Mhm.
And I just think our messaging as far as, and we live in the social media world, right? All we see is, well, this kid's a 10-year-old and he's a stud. And I have one. I have my young kid, he's exceptional. But it's a lot of work that went into that. And I
Mhm.
think we see all those clips and parents don't realize how much work goes into that. It's no different than being a professional athlete, Michael Jordan or Derek Jeter. They don't realize that those guys had struggles too.
Mhm.
So I think the youth baseball, youth sports in general, we need to do a better job of teaching parents not to be so much right now.
Mhm.
And also, when I say right now, and parents to be realistic, you can be a very good baseball player. That doesn't mean you're going to go play in the big leagues. That's that's very few do that. 1%, less than 1% of the population do that. But parents just need to understand that it's not right now, because right now you have two sides of the spectrum: very patient parents, very pushy parents, and kind of parents in the middle. I think the parents that are in the middle that have decent expectations are the kids that go on to achieve great success. Usually with my parents that are super gung ho and super, oh, we got to win now, those kids usually, in my opinion, a lot of times burn out because of the parent pressure. And it's like, at the end of the day, I played this game for a very long time, and I was fortunate enough to play in college and get a scholarship to play it. I think you gotta love the game. If you don't have love and you don't have fun and you don't enjoy the game, if going to the stands to your parents is the worst situation, or you feel that retribution going home, you're not gonna play this game very often. And just and then again, and big thing you asked me earlier, patience with kids, and not right now. There's some really good kids that probably quit playing ball because at 7 they weren't the best kid on the team. And
Yeah.
you know what? None of my kids were the best kid on the team at 7 years old.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't think that matters at
Yeah.
7 or 8. And I think too many people get caught up into right now
Mhm.
and don't see, it's like having a kid. You know what your kid's going to be, but you still have to deal with the daily, day to day annoying things they do and try to teach them how to develop. And I just think parents need to be just a little more patient and a little bit understanding the process, and understand that great players didn't just start necessarily being the greatest at 7, 8 years old,
Mhm.
and understand there's a process that goes with this. So that's the one thing I would definitely change and want parents to understand. Like, you just got to quit being a right now parent.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing I'll add to that is, like obviously there's more and more people moving to club sports, whether that's baseball, volleyball, softball, lacrosse, soccer, right? The youth sports industry is moving towards a privatized way of going. There's good and bad with that, right? For me, there's good because the coaching's better, right? You've got people that are doing this for a living. It's their passion. It's what they love. And that's great. You also have the other side of it that is, I think, forces parents to feel that pressure, right? To feel that pressure to have to be the best at a younger and younger age. And I say that Tate because I don't know if you've heard this, but I'm going to steal it from our founder Sandy Ogg, who was the former chief human resource officer at Unilever. They hired 250,000 people a year in their company, right? And he said that the student athlete is the true American treasure. He says that in the world, we're the only place, the United States, where you have a student and an athlete. Across the world, if you're an athlete, you just go and you become an athlete, right? If you're a student, you just go and you become a student. But the people, the entrepreneurs, the managers across the board, right? They I don't know the percentages, but many of them are student athletes. Many of them are student athletes. You learn how to play in a team. You learn how to manage your time. You learn how to do all those important things. So I think also understanding as a parent that that's what your goal is, right? Your goal is to create a really well-rounded individual, daughter or son, that is using sport to teach them how to be a part of a team, how to deal with failure, how to bounce back from those things. And those will be rewarding in their life, right? So having a realistic expectation for parents as well, I think is really important, right? I don't know if you agree with that, but I think it's something that's super important, you know?
You hit the nail on the head. I think, you know, the connections you make, the things you learn from balancing these things in life. At the end of the day, if baseball or whatever sport they seek doesn't work out, they'll go out and be able to be a very good part of any workforce they go to. And just understand that it's an investment. It may not pay off in sports, but it'll pay off somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, I know that you're relatively new to the Diamond Allegiance, learning about the Diamond Allegiance and the, everything that we provide, but based on your experience so far, where do you see the group, the cohort of the Diamond Allegiance going, and what excites you about obviously being part of the Canes, but also being part of the Diamond Allegiance?
You know, I think the Diamond Legion was probably our number one selling point when, other than the Canes, for the obvious reason I stated earlier, but the Diamond Legions was, well, first of all, for me as being a business owner, a way to help me streamline our systems, to make our systems work, modernize, and be a part of a simpler system. And when I say simpler, something that the parent can connect all the different things that you guys do and be able to first have an app on their phone to track player development, for us to be able to message, for us to be able to communicate and then offer them discounts and things like that. It is a lot of parents spend a lot of money, and just having that ability for parents to be able to get that on the use their phone to be able to get some of those things, and also to track their player development, be able to be inside our facility, book time, do these things. I think in this busy world where kids are playing multiple sports year round, you're ripping and running with 3, 4 kids. I just think I'm an allegiance thing will really streamline our process and streamline our systems. And I think it's a great thing for club owners. That was one of the biggest reasons that drew me into this, is because I have 4 kids. I have one in college. I got middle school, and me and my wife are ripping and running all over the place, and just something to just slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
We got 10,000 messages. All right, where are my payment? Where's this? Where's that? And I think that the Diamond Allegiance, the way you guys have done it, and I think it's the different thing. There's a lot of programs out there, but I think this is created specifically for the sports world, and
Mhm.
specifically for what we do and what parents want. I think if these days you need something in the palm of your hand. We live on our phones all the time, and just the way the small, I'm going through this process, but uh, just in the month I've been here, just the different things that have been offered and the communication, and just having somebody to kind of take me through this process as a small business owner, that's huge. Because I think as a small business owner, you kind of learn as you go, and you try stuff and you do this, and it's just like, this works, this doesn't work. I wanted a system that I know works for some people, and was something that I have baseball minded people that are in leadership, that can kind of lead me in the right way and kind of. So, in my opinion, the Diamond Allegiance things, that was one of the biggest thing that kind of led us to this. That has been one of our downsides in our previous businesses, just how we communicate, our processing, our payments, things like that, and our player development being where we can expose parents to it. Because at the end of the day, these days, through social media, through communication, through the ease of use, I think parents make most of those decisions based upon those things.
Yeah.
Because it's not always about being the best program as for instruction, but what can you provide me that's going to give me less work to get my kid to and from, understand what the program offers, and have accessibility when I don't have access to coaches. So
Yep.
that's been a huge thing for me with Diamond Allegiance.
Love it, Tate. Well, obviously appreciate your time. Super excited to have you guys on board with the Diamond Allegiance. Looking forward to the continued relationship, helping you grow, watching you guys grow. I appreciate you again taking the time today, and world, welcome Tate and the Iowa Canes to the Diamond Allegiance and to the national scene. So Tate, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.